the Arizona Senior Academy welcomes pianist, vocalist Cynthia Hilts to our stage to record a virtual concert that encompasses both jazz and classical music from Ellington to Chopin. Cynthia is a prolific composer who has played and sung around the world as a soloist and with various ensembles. I hope you will enjoy the show.
Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time of day you might be able to view this. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much, Leslie, for inviting me to perform. I am going to be, as Leslie mentioned, performing some original and standard jazz and classical music, and I'll be drawing parallels, combining genres, and calling out some of my own influences. So I hope you can enjoy the gift of the breadth of musical possibilities. So the first thing I'd like to start with is Don't Be Afraid, Beethoven's Sonata Pathétique. But I am not going to play this part, I'm not doing that part. I'm going to start with the second movement, the rondo, and I have two portions of the rondo that I have made into two separate jazz entities. So the first part, not exactly swinging, right? But what I have done is I'm going to play it as a jazz waltz with some nod to Bill Evans, one of my favorite jazz pianists. He was the master of the jazz waltz. And I'm going to throw in some groovy, harmonic, smoothing jazz chords interpolated into the form. And I will be improvising a little bit. The second part that I would like to show you is, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but Beethoven can swing like a maniac. Everybody doesn't realize this, but this part right here is the proof. It's the next section of the rondo immediately following. It goes like this. Are you hearing the swing? You hear it? That's great. Because actually, if Beethoven were here, he would be snapping on 2 and 4. This part, you know. Cha, cha, cha. And if he'd had a jazz drummer back then, it would have been swinging completely without changing a note. So I'm going to start as he played it. Well, here you go. So anyway, Beethoven swings. I've noticed that about other things. He has almost got boogie woogie in one of his I think it's the E major sonata. Can't quote you a measure number on that. But I also noticed that this has a lot of the same melodic content as All the Things You Are, you know. So I'm going to slip a little bit of that in there. And now I'm going to play this second part of the rondo from the Sonata Pathétique, as Beethoven would have done it if he'd grown up in the East Village, or the West Village, maybe. I miss you all. Beautiful audiences around the world. It's very lovely to have a chance to do this in any form, actually. So as mentioned, I am a composer, so I have a song now. This is not swinging at all. It's actually an art song, I would say, but I do improvise on it, and it is reflects on Debussy's influence on my composition. This song is called Lullaby on Nez Perce Creek, which is a place up in Yellowstone National Park. And so I wrote this song last year in Montana, and I wrote the music, including the vocal part, but I didn't have any words. So I just, I wanted to have words, so I was a little flummoxed because I wasn't getting the inspiration. But I had played in Yellowstone National Park a few years ago, and I had written some poetry while I was there about Nez Perce Creek. I knew this was a lullaby, but I didn't know it was the Nez Perce Creek lullaby yet either. So I was able to combine the words of that poem with this piece of music. And here is the resulting music. Steaming springs, 10 copper dragonflies, 6 velvet antler tips on a shy river dipping mule deer, mallards lazy floating down the street. 4 circling osprey, childish peace and fleet shadows. Wise trout in the cool depths, one last butterfly, gold feather brushed creek banks, tinged with August's ending green. currants walk in a cooling clover. Bright foaming cumulus ride the fathomless lapis sky. Soaring dark one, a golden eagle. Stream bottom black and rich, touched with hot springs, warm currents. 32 ripe cherries sweeten the poet's tongue. Honey gold, soft Greek banks, space for fierce and gentle too, and gentle too. Fierce and gentle too. And gentle too. Thank you very much. The sound of two hands clapping. All right. Now we all there are a lot of conventions of music through history, of course. Parallel fourths and fifths were a big hit with the Gregorian chants. Everybody liked those, you know. And then in the Baroque period, they were absolutely banned. No parallel fourths or fifths. They did strange things to the harmonic and melodic concept of that time. So I have a piece that I'm going to play for you. It's another original piece. And it contains parallel fourths and fifths that have absolutely nothing to do with Gregorian chants. They're very strong. And, you know, actually in jazz, let's be real, there are often these things moving around. But in this piece, I would say there's specifically very much an important part of the piece. So this one, actually, I wrote this piece and I couldn't think of a name for it, which is also very strange, because normally it's easy for me to think of names for my pieces. But so the first person that I played it for, hot off the composer's press, was my 7-year-old great niece. And I thought maybe she'd come up with a name for it. So I played it for her, and then she says, I don't really like it. And then she goes, no, I loved it, I'm just kidding. So that's the kind of person I'm dealing with, the youth of today. Anyway, I said, so did that make you think of anything? And she said, it reminds me of great-grandmommy, who was my mother, who had died within the last year. And I was very surprised at that answer. And then I thought, yeah, it does kind of remind me of Mom, too. You know? So my mother being somewhat mythical and a very provocative person, this is named Myth or Provocation. Thank you very much. Now we're going to go into the Chopin portion of the program. Chopin is one of my favorite composers from a very young age. And so I'm actually going to take this big chance. I'm going to play the same piece twice. So I'm going to do his original mazurka in D minor, I suppose, number 13. And then I'm going to do a jazz version of that. we have to have a little bit of words in between those two. So, well, I love that mazurka. Lovely piece. And I was inspired to write some words of healing for a loved one to this. And this, well, this is one of the ones that I didn't change into a different key, time signature, sorry. So, but it's, instead of being in 6/4, it's a jazz waltz, the old favorite. On the balcony, as the wind plays your willow tree, soft melody, listening, listening. Here comes a friend with a sorrow to tell, and you listen wisely and well, silent, seeming strong within your shell. This you can do well. No one yet has guessed how in thoughtful silence all of those tears are pressed. Give you no rest, hidden, hidden. Someday I wish you'd share tears like these in the sight of the heart and the arms of one of us who loves your gentle light. Hold you, sing you softly through the night, loved with all our might. A child holds herself apart from the world to keep. Fields of tenderness the cruelest of fates would reap. Bright seeds hiding in the quietest, darkest deep, waiting to one day rise to the sun. A child holds herself apart from the world to keep. Fields of tenderness the cruelest of fate would reap. Bright seeds hiding in the quietest, darkest deep, waiting to one day rise to the sun. Days or years have passed, seeds forgotten like a question that's never asked. Earth holds you fast, hidden, hidden. By chance the earth may open and warm in the sun, then like the gentle pull of loving what's growing now can't be undone. Tender as if life had just begun. Tender little one, you must have a lullaby 'neath the softening evening sky, like a starlight in the dark night, drifting light as a firefly. And you must have a little breeze playing soft amid the trees. Touch the tallest first of all, and gently tease the smallest leaves. And you must have the morning dew beat you round as night is through. Comes the dawn, your dreams are gone, and still I will be here with you. Now a single tear, as you start to trust that I am still sitting here, heart open clear, listening, listening. Today I will sit with your hand in my hand, and if you speak or just weep, then I will understand. Love you, ocean flowing over sand, love you hand in hand. Sister, when this day begins to fade, I'll gladly stay. If you're still afraid, comes another storm, comes to me, and we'll be warm, resting tenderly. Thank you. All right. I'm not going to even introduce this next piece. I'm not going to tell you what it's called because you already know it. And I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing to it because you're going to hear that too. Thank you. I can hear the applause in the background going, oh. All of you folks at home, many blessings. So now I'm going to play a piece that I wrote right when I was coming into my strength as a composer, I would say. And it's a classical piece, very short, and it is Chopin influenced. I would call this my nocturne. And the name of this piece is Night Blooming Sirius. It's also, well, it's an homage to Chopin. It's also an homage to my love of Arizona, mystery, and the beautiful nights of Arizona. Thank you very much. All right. I have a palate cleanser for you now. This is, well, when the quarantine hit, I was doing some of the time something which I can only actually honestly refer to as moping. I was moping, and my cat was not exactly having that. She thought there were a lot of things I could be doing. So she explained to me that there were many things I could be doing during the quarantine that would be really great for both of us. And so this is also a nod to the strange gifts of COVID, because I did receive some very peculiar gifts that I would not otherwise have gotten from the quarantine and the ongoing dealio. So this is also a nod to the conventions of blues and stride piano in my musical history. So I want to forewarn you that there are made-up words in this song, because cats have extra vocabulary that we don't have. So one of them is in the title, which is "Mugulate my haunches," which is a cat command, and if you have a cat, you know what that means. So there are a few other made-up words in here, and I'm going to now play for you "Mugulate my haunches." I had a conversation just this morning with my cat. She said, "COVID-19, what in the heck is that?" She said, "Dear human, it seems you got a lot of time on your hands. Why don't you scragify my ears till we see where everything stands. Scragify my ears, there's nothing better to do. Scragify my ears, I'm only thinking of you. She said, scragify my ears, it'll be so much fun. Why don't you scragify my ears? I'll let you know when you're done. I gardened all day beneath the soft spring sky. Thought of going dancing, and I heaved a big sigh. My cat said, to tell the truth, I really don't miss your friends. Why don't you squishy pie my belly till we see how it all ends? Squishy pie my belly, there's nothing better to do. Squishy pie my belly, I'm only thinking of you. She said, squishy pie my belly, it'll be so much fun. Why don't you squishy pie my belly? I'll let you know when we're done. She said, of course there are certain times when you cannot touch me. When I'm scratching my head or cleaning myself or suchly. When I'm eating, it's best if you stay a good 3 or 4 feet or 5 feet away. When you do your duty and play with me, watch yourself. I can't help if my claws display when I play. When I play, and she said, do your duty and play. That's all I'm asking for me. Do your duty and play. I'm only thinking of you. She said, do your duty and play. It'll be so much fun. Why don't you do your duty and play? I'll let you know when we're done. Looked out the window and I read a good book. My kitty found me curled up in my favorite nook. She stretched her front paws low and she wiggled her kitty cat butt. She said, why don't you moogulate my haunches till we find out what's what? Moogulate my haunches, there's nothing better to do. Moogulate my haunches, I'm only thinking of you. She said, moogulate my haunches, it'll be so much fun. Why don't you moogulate my haunches? I'll let you know when we're done. Scragify my ears, squishy pie my belly. Moogulate my haunches, it'll be so much fun. Why don't you moogulate my haunches? I'll let you know when we're done. I'll let you know when we're done. Thank you. Okay, 2 more pieces for you. Now this next piece it's another original piece, and I had a dream. I was reading this great science fiction book by Thomas Disch called On Wings of Song, in which people are able to sing themselves. They hook themselves up to a machine and then they sing themselves into the ether, and they never want to come back. So a lot of singers know what that feels like. But anyway, so I was reading that book, and then I had a dream in which somebody was singing a little opera thing, a little piece of opera, I might call it, and it went. And I don't normally actually remember songs that I have in my dreams. I don't think I dream music very much, strangely enough. You don't need to know that. But in any case, I took that little phrase and I stretched the heck out of it. And it became this melody. And this song is called Too Sweet. You don't want to love me like you do, and you don't want to see the kind of love I feel for you. You don't want to see how easily our love can meet. It's too strong, it's too sweet. You're afraid to let me love you like I want to. If I stayed, would you lose some part of your heart you should hold on to? Every day I withhold the tenderness, it seems so to distress you. It's too strong, it's too sweet. I've seen your eyes, touched with surprise. Warm as love's slow rise. Won't you just let yourself love me like you do? Go on and trust the kind of love I feel for you. I know you must see how easily our hearts can beat. It's so strong, it's so sweet. Seen your eyes, touched with surprise. piece of love me like you do. Go on and trust the kind of love I feel for you. I know you must see how easily our hearts can meet. It's so strong. It's too sweet. Thank you very much. So now, the final convention I'm going to talk about is rhythm changes, which are the chords to I Got Rhythm, which every jazz player has to know. It's been played so many times, and so many songs are based on that. Charlie Parker wrote a bunch of songs based on it, one of which is Dexterity. Let's see. Now, the form is AABA. You probably know what that is. You got one section, and then you have the same thing again, and then you have something different, and then you have the first section again. So that is a very popular thing. Amongst composers, we all know. Well, one of my students said to me one time that if she understood me correctly, that repetition is the ketchup of music. And I said, well, if you like ketchup, it is. Because we all know, you hear something beautiful, and then you play it again, and they go, oh, it's so beautiful. And then you play something different, they go, oh, it's so beautiful to go there. And then you come back to the A section again. Oh, so nice to come back to that. So that's pretty much, composing in a nutshell right there. Some sorts of composing, that is. So anyway, one of the actually most venerable pieces of music that has that form is Old MacDonald, which is the easiest way to explain that form to 5-year-olds, I've discovered. So anyway, I'm going to play. Oh, I didn't even give you the, so I Got Rhythm, And then the second A, I'll use Dexterity. So I hope you can hear that harmony repeating itself. So now I'm going to play a song by Duke Ellington called Cottontail, which is also written on rhythm changes. Take note and go home and practice. Way back in my childhood, I heard a story so true about a funny bunny stealing some food from a farmer he knew. His mama got worried. She told that rabbit one day, stop stealing, baby. He would have said, or he'll blow you away. The rabbit knows that she's right, so why can't he do what she said? I guess he just ain't giving part of his habit because he's a rabbit. You heard the old story. One rabbit's foot will bring luck, but it's much more lucky it matches the rabbits attached. Way back in my childhood, I heard that story so true about a funny bunny stealing some food from a farmer he knew. His mama got worried. She told that rabbit one day, "Stop the stealing, baby. He would have say or he'll blow you away." The rabbit knows that she's right, so why can't he do what she said? I guess he just can't dig it. Part of his habit because he's a rabbit. I got rhythm, I got music, I got my man. Who could ask for anything more? You heard the old story. One rabbit's foot will bring luck, but it's much more luckier next if the rabbits are touched.